Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War with the Eras mod. Last time around, I can't exactly remember what we did. I've been sick for a week, so that's part of the problem here. But I feel like I'm well enough to be able to go ahead and record. I have a slight cough that is still holding on, so we'll see how well my voice holds up under this. If there's some weird cuts, it's probably because I'm coughing. But hopefully, it should be going fine. Because we're at the level that we are right now, and there's so many things happening all over the place, we're not going to be able to show everything that goes on, because it's be just too much work and will never end up going anywhere. So I will show you specific high points as we go forward here, because there's just so much going on right now. Currently, I actually have around 30,000 men under arms, which seems kind of a lot. That would be close to 10 full stack armies, but clearly not, because all my enemies have just as much. But for now, we're going to cool it a little bit with the Austrian side here. As you can see, we've got 3 armies, a raid towards Vienna. So we've got Van der Hof and his Italian-French mix of troops coming out of Italy, ready to march up here and block this bridge, or if he's going to help Napoleon over here. We've got Davout ready to chip in, coming in from Spain, of course, ready to chip in against the Austrians, and then, of course, Napoleon over here, and then the 4th army all the way down here. Oh, I did not load the save. I just carried on. Right. Well, I took this place. What happened was, I was just gonna... I was planning on doing the auto-resolve and showing you that for this video, but I guess I forgot to actually load the save before I had auto-resolved the... Whatever. Never mind. What happened was, they sallied forth. And when you the sally forth battles are awful, because the AI puts itself at such a disadvantage that they're no fun at all. What usually happens is that 1/3 is like in the fort, and then 1/3 is on one side and 1/3 is on the other, and you just kind of end up pivoting towards one side, and then the enemy army comes like in 3 bits and attacks you. And you're able to just focus in and overwhelm them and destroy them. So that's what happened, and that's why Sul is now in control of Belgrade and the fort. It brings us to border with the Ottomans, which I thought might be a problem, but as we have previously allied with them, hopefully, that will not be a problem. As long as they don't go ahead and like declare war on the Russians and they start moving in. And then we'll get an endless horde of Russians coming in here. But so we've taken control of all of this, and are now hopefully able to then push up into the Austrians. Because there's going to be so much fighting around here, I've decided to demolish the small arms factory and build a supply depot instead. So we get the good replenishment. Small arms still gives pretty good replenishment for these forces, but I want the green stuff. I want to be able to, you know, go right after a battle, almost one turn, and then next battle, sort of, or be ready at least for the next battle, especially since we've got so many Austrians here. The Sardinians, I don't know what's up with the Sardinians. They are some kind of super boosted, I don't know really what's... They're in a thorn in my side wherever I go, and now they have joined me in Eastern Europe, or in the Balkans, by invading Croatia. I know, could someone please rid me of these Sardinians? It's astonishing. This army is not enough to be a threat, however, it will distract us. And there's a risk they go after the supply depot, which I desperately need because of previously stated reasons. in terms of what's going on in the middle of Europe, nothing has been going on there for quite a while. So I've been thinking about going after Denmark, but the easiest way to go after Denmark would be if I'd somehow be able to get my get my navy in here so I can land directly towards the capital and take that out. But right now that does not feel like a plan at all, to spend the resources and try and do that, especially since, you know, I barely have a navy as of now. And to try and go and fight the Swedish and try and fight the Swedish and the Danish navy, or try and maneuver through these tight passes to try and land a force there, it's not going to happen. So I think instead these two armies, probably rather than sitting there, should actually go after Dresden and Prague to bring some of the heat off the forces down here in the Balkans moving up. The worry I have with that is that taking Saxony and taking Prague, mostly Saxony, will trigger the Prussians, because then we'll be like, we have vassals right on the border, but this area will be, now when we take that, that's so close to the capital compared to previous conquests that, you know, suddenly their capital is surrounded. So I wonder if that could possibly trigger them to go to war with me, which wouldn't be great, because I would only have 2 armies here against, I can only imagine the massive amount of armies the Prussians have. So that's what's going on there. Nothing much here. Then we come down to Barcelona and Catalonia. What happened here was what I sort of suspected might happen, is the Catalonians rose in rebellion against the Sardinians. So I went ahead and removed my army from sieging Catalonia and moved it back so that the Sardinians and the Catalonians could fight. And they did, as you can see. The army is diminished. The Sardinians ended up losing about 500 men, I think, while crushing the Catalonian rebels. So it's going to make it a little bit more easier for my army to deal with that. And then hopefully, as soon as possible, we can actually get the Polish army on board all of these frigates and land them on Sardinia, and finally getting rid of this tiny little island that has caused so much problem for me, and is still causing problems continuously. So hopefully we'll be doing that. And then finally we come to the final bit here, which is Madrid under constant attack by the British. Currently they actually have 4 full stacks arrayed here. So there's 2. There's 1 hidden here somewhere. So there's 2 right now on Madrid, with 1 right here and then 1 that just landed. So in total there's 4 of them. And I'm sure there's even more of them to come. So we have huge problems with that. Actually, what I've been thinking, because I make so much money, I've been thinking about just starting to recruit literally everything. Everything I can shall be recruited and put into armies. I have been reluctant to do that because at that point it kind of becomes hard to keep a track on everything. And currently we have like member units in like one army has 1 and so on. So it might be so diluted that it'll be hard to keep a track on, even more so than it is already now. Gushi is sitting down here. This area should be safe to leave, actually. I think this area is, yeah, it is fully under control. And he's desperately needed over here. Or maybe he should go in and block them actually at the... try and block them crossing the river or dealing with them there instead. So he'll be moving there. But for today's episode, what I have thought, because I realize now that if there's some weird cuts here, or sort of you might notice, it's probably because I'm coughing. I thought it was better than it was. But yeah, so we'll try and keep this one quite short. And I think going forward, that's what we're going to have to do. as I said right at the start, there's so much going on everywhere that I can't show everything. So we'll be highlighting certain areas where stuff is going down. Like stuff that I don't think you are particularly interested in is like if I attack here and there's an army completely just of these boring Austrian troops that all look the same. That is just going to be a waste of time to showing that. However, you know, showing the first battle here with the Polish army, which is the first time to get to see all those uniforms as they go into battle, that might be interesting. And then also, we have the British Navy down here. So, we've not done too well against full-fledged battle fleets of the British. And it is understandable. I mentioned this in the comment in a previous video, but I thought it'd be interesting to bring up the statistics again. So, because a lot of you might have not read the comment. So, in part of me collecting different uniforms and so on, I also try and get the best thing, or trying to get as much information on the uniform as well. And so I've got part of getting information around the naval uniform of the British Navy, around the Napoleonic Wars. I got these Osprey Publishing Nelson's Navy, and it's got good illustration of uniforms and so on, but it also has some quite interesting facts. And I was reading through the introduction, and you know that you have the idea of the British Navy doing quite well in the Napoleonic Wars. I didn't realize how well they were doing. So, according to this, then, the statistics that they have, that they put forward, statistics that were published in 1839 relating to the French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, records, I should say, that 1,200 enemy vessels were sunk and captured against 166 British. So that's kind of a stark difference, but it gets worse for the enemies of Britain, that is, of which the comparative figures for ship of the line were 167 of enemies then lost, compared to 7 British. 167 to 7. Pretty, big difference there. And for frigates, we have 323 enemy frigates sunk or captured by the British Navy, compared to 27 British lost. But I guess the biggest difference is if you actually look at the different calibers of ships here. So, against France, the statistics of capital ships, to say ships that carry 50 guns or more, have an even more remarkable statistics. The French Navy lost some 90 capital ships, so 50 guns or more, whereas the British only lost 1. So you get a feeling then of just how many, or just how, overpowered the Royal Navy was. There's some, I can't remember where I got it, and I'm not going to sit here and look for it right now, but there was also an interesting statistics around the death of sailors, and how the disparity in between sort of battle casualties compared to disease, sickness, accidents, and so on. The statistics for the loss of sailors in that was even more astounding. We were told, I think it was something like, I don't want to say anything because I could be terribly wrong, but it was a very stark difference. I wish I had actually prepared to mention that as well. But that's what we're going to do for today's episode. Right, so to clarify, again and again, going over the same thing, what we're going to do today is we're going to have ourselves a naval battle, and then we're going to see the fight against the Sardinians. And I think we're going to skip a lot as I move forward against the Austrians. Given how it actually goes here in Madrid, I might show this, but I think that will be for the next episode, and hopefully my cough will have completely subsided by then. But let's go ahead and start this then by bringing in the Poles and deal with these pesky Sardinians. My first attempt at doing this battle actually led it to crash. Not entirely sure why it crashed, but one upside to that was actually that the first time I played this, it rained. Luckily for me, though, we didn't really get anywhere, so I didn't waste a lot of time in the episode. What I've gone ahead and done is we've got the Northern Brigade, which I think this kind of becomes a Legion du Nord, so the Northern Legion, so the North Brigade, and then the Vistule Brigade over here, with the lights in the center, which 3 have been deployed ahead of the line. Together with the light cavalry, we've got the Lancers over here, and the Polish, in fact, have their own cannons. I think these are 12-pounders, given the range. And yes, in terms of my plan, just march at them and find out, really. So let's go ahead and start. Let's bring all the brigades up to where I intend to fight the enemy. Now the enemy is gonna present some juicy targets for my artillery right at the start, but as soon as given the chance, I think we will switch instead to fire on the enemy cavalry to make sure that our cavalry gains the advantage and gains the ability to maneuver around the enemy. Clearly my guns were not quick enough to swivel around to face these, so that wasn't too great. For the second roundup of shots here, I'm gonna order them to target cavalry instead, and we're gonna go and boost those shots. The enemy is moving forward quite rapidly, but hopefully not rapidly enough. I'm gonna move these up to the road. I'm going to skirmish formation, and we're going to do that with the lights as well. We're going to put them on the sides. So we're going to Vistule Legion is going to come through the woods, supported by the Lancers. And then we've got the light cavalry over here. It's going to support the flank of the Northern Legion. Now the cavalry moved into the houses over there, or the towns, so we can't fire at them. However, the enemy's artillery is now starting to set up, and I could target them and then bounce through into the enemy cavalry. The enemy is currently a little bit all over the place. I'm hoping that because there's a lot of them in the center now, maybe through having the lights moving forward so early, we might be able to lock them and drag them in towards the center fight, where it'll be skirmishes, and they'll not produce that much fire against the enemy, but they'll keep the fight going, and that'll allow me to bring up the 2 flanks, and we'll surround the enemy like we usually do. There's a lot of cannon fire going in around here. Clearly, cavalry's been hit. But not enough, clearly, since the unit is now coming straight at... Oh crap, these guys can't actually form square. However, I've got this light group ready to back up the lights here. I didn't see that coming, that they would ride straight towards us. Oh, they're setting up to fire, actually. They're not intending to charge. Which is their own damn fault that they're not doing that. Currently, they're constantly repositioning because they're not sure who they're gonna focus on. And looks like they're kind of pulling back, which is the smart thing to do. Because they've, in the current situation, they've just lost troopers without actually being able to produce any fire against us. Oh, and they're going for the line infantry, which I think is probably the worst unit to fight. And now they're trying to charge, but I'm focusing way too much on that right now. And we will have lots of space here for the Northern Legion to move up. There is 2 cavalry units though setting up inside town, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Right, they were sent away. So let's go ahead and start re-establishing the line here. And get the Restore Legion in place. We are trading with the fire with the enemy. They are doing very little damage to us. And we're doing quite a bit of damage to them, so that's good. Actually, they'll be shooting at this unit, I think. Which has lost quite a lot more than the smaller units. However, as soon as this comes in, I'm ready to start the flank. That's going to be very good. They've lost quite a bit of cannon. The 6-pounder has lost 2 of its guns, and now they're all focusing in right there. Let's make sure that we boost our fire as they move like that. And also possibly try and gain some ground here, potentially. We leave some room for the cavalry to come through. Hopefully we did get some extra bounces through all of this mess right here as they were firing for the artillery. Right, now the Northern Legion is starting to join in and start to fire on the enemy. More cavalry they've been joined now by not 1 but 2 units of cavalry. We'll split the Northern Legion like that. Let's see, these guys should be able to fire, hopefully, before the charge goes in. You will hold your fire, as I'm afraid that you will shoot our friendlies. Oh, that's a 6-pounder gun that's setting up in town. God damn it, my cavalry unit charges my own unit while the enemy's goes through there. You know what? Sit behind and then let them shoot like that. I thought it was the 3rd cavalry unit come in. There was a 3rd cavalry unit come in, because there only was ever 2 cavalry units here to start with. One of those was horse-drawn artillery. It looks good. It also is a huge opening here for my lancers to come around. You can withdraw, or try to. Okay, the hussars will try and smash them. Coming in from either side here with the light cavalry. Focusing on the artillery at this point is suboptimal, I'd say. I'm instead gonna focus on targets along this line, where I think we're gonna see the break first. Cavalry fight. I would say we are winning. We've got 2 units against 1. My lance is making the way around. More of this brigade needs to come into the fighting to deal with them. Alright, 12 pounders. Be focusing in. Firing up the line there. Our cavalry was able to successfully move through. The enemy is preparing units against us rather than going straight into that. Let's go against this. Concentrate over here. And hit the weaker side with a lot of militia and stuff. The militia is going straight in to all the light infantry. Focusing on these guys. Oh, they are firing on my lances, which accidentally rode on into some reinforcements that came in. I wonder if I have time to set these guys up to fire their guns from horseback here. Looks like could be melee fighting going on here. I'm going to ride up the general to support that. Okay, time to order the artillery to fire at something else. Know the lances in here. These guys seem to be turning now. All of the enemies are getting defeated over here. Lance is going in. Hold your fire. Move towards this side. Right, they're being broken over there. We're coming out of the woods. I don't know how you ended up behind the rest of them. But we're doing pretty well here. The lance is funneling the Sardinian troops into the lines. I'm ordering an advance here. Even though it's the first battle of the Poles, they've done quite well for themselves. Not a single unit as of yet has routed. The Legion of the North marches forward. This is a city battle, so there's no need to completely chase enemy units down. All these retreating troops. We are not necessarily interested in keep chasing them. What we're going to do though is we're going to start concentrating cavalry up here. Might be better actually to have the artillery focusing on the grenadiers here. This militia seems to have lost quite a lot of troops as they're being fired up the flank there. At this point, it might be better to order them to no longer be in skirmish. And then the Northern Legion. Not entirely sure why this one has lost its marker there. They are rallying and are starting to move against us. It's not going too well though. More and more units are being broken. The guards broke. That's a big deal. That's now very few units that actually stand against us. I'm gonna focus in on the mess here. See if I can make a major break in the center again. And force them into complete retreat. The cavalry setting up hopefully outside of musket range. And soon enough the Lord and Legion, the lights and so on, start to join in, firing over here. Lots of retreating troops here. I don't see any of those guys coming back. If they do, this unit could actually move up like that and sit at the edge of the woods shooting at them. There's very few units actually standing here, so let's order an advance. And then the lights will advance as well. Enemy general taken out by a stray cannonball. Their days are numbered. More and more of their units are starting to leave. They still have a gun though in there. It's the 12-pounder. Keeps firing on us. The Northern Legion seems to be the one that has suffered most through this battle. Are they firing for my lances? Or my light cavalry? Yes, they have. I don't like that. Oh, they can fire. They have that much range, actually. I didn't realize they had kind of the range of like mounted Jaegers. I think we're too deep in the woods to do proper damage on this one. Right, let's organize the lances then for a final breakdown of the enemy. 170 men. Okay, now there's only one unit still standing. Order the cavalry to smash that bastard. Cavalry now coming in from all sides. Completely overwhelming the Sardinians. Hopefully, this is a sign of the end for the Sardinians. When we now have rallied the Polish to fight for us and to smash these Sardinian bastards. And then we have that. We saw the Polish move into action. Army of 3,600 men against 2,800. Numbers would have been a lot more even if it weren't for the fact of the Catalonian guerrillas attacking and destroying a part of them. We ended up losing close to 600 men, leaving us then with 3,000, while the enemy lost everything, with no one surviving. Highest kills goes to one of the Legion of the Vistule, which I'm quite surprised that they killed that many with only losing 10 men. Deployed 93. It's a cavalry unit then. It's a cavalry unit. God damn it, it must be a cavalry unit, right? 93 men deployed. Seems a lot for a cavalry unit. The cavalry unit's at 75. No, wait, where am I reading this wrong? This is a light unit. I was kind of surprised that the light unit was able to kill that much. 240. Normally they don't kill that much, but then again they ended up in hand-to-hand combat with militias. Maybe that's what played the part there. 93 to 93. Is that cavalry unit then? Because the light cavalry is called Legion de la Vistule, just like the infantry is called that. So I guess this must be cavalry, because the light is 135, and then the lances are the 75. Must be, right? I don't think I have a light unit at 93, or do I? It could be that these are all the 3 light units in the center, and they are the top killers. But it's hard to read this when all the units are basically called the same. Everyone's either a Legion Polonaise, or Legion de la Vistule, or Legion du Nord. And it's kind of hard to distinguish who's who here. But the important bit is that we won. I can liberate it as its own region, but I don't think that's a great idea. Because I need this port to safeguard Navy while we recover the Polish army, and then as soon as possible land it on Sardinia to deal with the Sardinians at the root of the problem. With that though, we're going to go for the second battle of this video, which is going to be the naval battle. Now with the statistics in mind, this might be a very difficult fight for us, but I have quite the confidence. So we have 122, they have 122, we have 106, no, we have 3 106, they have 1, we have 3 80 gun ships, they have 2 80 gun ships, they have 174, we have 274. So overall, like, we have 1 ship more than them, and in every class of ship we outnumber them. Now they do have 198 gun ship, which I don't have any class to match 98, but overall we've got more cannons and 1 more ship. We should be successful here. We should. On paper it should go well. Now if it actually goes well, that's completely different entirely. But with that said, let's take on the British Navy. it ended up being a victory. Now, a hard-won battle at that. We ended up losing one of our ships due to it catastrophically exploding. The enemy lost a lot more than that. And we also... both the 2 frigates exploded, plus the Cyan, I believe. Oh no, there was Britannia. HMS Britannia exploded, and the 2 frigates exploded. We lost, unfortunately, our biggest ship, the 122-gun ship, exploded. But other than that, we stand victorious, where the rest of the fleet survived, and we managed to capture 5 of the enemy's ships. Now it's going to be 12,000 is a lot of money, but I make a lot more. So it's better than to take them on, repair them, and use them against our enemies. Suddenly, I'm sitting on a little bit of a naval advantage, or at least a regional one. Not ready going on to take on the English Channel. We're not that strong, but we've definitely become a lot stronger. So, with this episode now done, we have done quite well for ourselves. We've sunk, captured, and British Navy. We've reclaimed Catalonia, and we added on the Belgrade region to our empire. It leaves us with... we need to gather another 12 provinces, and then we can call ourselves victorious. One of those important provinces is going to be Sardinia. And I'm hopefully also going to take out the Spanish completely. I don't think we'll ever be able to fend off the British entirely, since their navy is so much stronger. But in between this one and the next one, I'll try to figure out if I'm going to show all the fighting here against the British or not, as we've shown plenty of that in previous battles, and then against the Austrians. But of course, the important bits I'll save to show. So overall, I think it was a good episode, and I didn't cough that much, did I? So, I will not drag this out any further. And will say that, hopefully, you guys enjoy this episode, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.